Hey everybody, thanks again once for joining me with the part 3 of the AWA Remco review. In the first video we did look at the 1984 Series 1 release, the first 4 sets of tag teams. Series 2 in video 2, still looking at 4 tag teams. Well, 2 tag teams and 2 main eventers. And that followed up the 3 tag teams and 1 main eventer in Series 1. It was a 1985 release. Now here in Series 3, we are still in the 1985 time frame, and for the first time, we are getting a 3-pack with the AWA Remcos. So they do include the first 2 sets we're going to look at are going to include both manager and a couple of the wrestlers. In the last set, we're going to look at the 3 wrestlers themselves. So not too much. Here's the thing: I don't have a lot of the figures for the loose figures. So there's only 3 tag team sets in this series. I have them on card. I don't have a lot of them on as loose figures, unfortunately. So, but I'm gonna try and do my best to hopefully make this a fun video. All right, so let's start with. So this team doesn't exactly have a tag team name that I could see on here. They just simply go off of Gorgeous Jimmy Garvin and Steve Regal with manager Precious. So if I'm not mistaken, I do believe that Jim Garvin and Precious are actually married in real life and might still be together today if they're still alive. Hopefully they are. So a lot of wrestlers of childhood have been passing away over the last 10, 15, 20 years. And some folks, at the turn of the century have been dying. It's like, man, how do you die at the age of like 30 something? So it's always sad when you hear someone dies and whatnot. So hopefully they're still alive and well. I want to start with Jimmy Garvin first because he's kind of like an interesting figure. So I don't know if you guys will be able to make it out. I highly doubt it, but I'm going to do my best to try and give you as much of a close-up as I possibly can. I don't know if you could see his stomach in there, his abs. Why do I mention that? Well, if you couldn't make it out, in this package, you can actually see the figure, and he has, chiseled abs, just like you'd see with the majority of the Remco figures from the line. And he is one of the few Series 3 figures I do have loose. Obviously not with all the accessories, but this is the Jimmy Garvin figure as a loose individual figure. So why do I bring up this one as a kind of an interesting figure? Now this one, it's not part of Series 3. This is actually a Series 4 release. I'm only showing it just as like a reference point. So from a Series 4 grudge match with Scott Hall, they had Scott Hall versus Jimmy Garvin. And so, try and get this mixed out here. And so you got the re-release of Jimmy Garvin, and on Series 4 going against the Series 3 Jimmy Garvin. And it's really dark over here. I'm sorry. Hopefully you guys can make this out. So here is the Jimmy Garvin Series 4. Kind of like a flabby belly Jimmy Garvin, if you will. I don't like this figure because when you kind of look at it, the way that his legs just spin like that just drive me nuts. It'd be nice if I could super glue his waist so it wouldn't move. Again, this is a Series 4. I just wanted to show that flabby belly just for as a reference point. But this is Jimmy Garvin. I don't have manager Precious loose. I've been trying to buy her loose, but they want like $50 on eBay for it. I'm like, get the heck out of here. When I see that, I just want to slap somebody. I'm like, no, thank you. We also have Steven Regal. So Steve Regal, this guy, for a long time, I didn't know who he was. And not until I actually went back and watched some old wrestling matches and realized that this is a guy that I used to watch growing up a lot. And it was funny watching him wrestle. Lord Steven Regal, as you know, later on in the WCW years, who was it? Earl Wright, was it? No. I can't remember the other wrestler, Darren. But in WCW, he tag teamed with another wrestler, and they formed the Blue Bloods. And what I find interesting about that guy, because I used to watch him wrestle in the WWF, and whenever you watch him in ring, not obviously with facial hair, he was always clean shaven. The look or expression on his face, it always looks like he was crying, and I'm like, what's up with that? What's up with that facial expression? I noticed that as a kid. So if you notice that when you're 6, 7 years old or something, just imagine how annoying that's gonna be when you're like a full grown adult and you're watching a wrestling match and you're seeing that. I mean, he's not actually crying, but just the way that his face is crunched up, that's what it looks like. So in that case, I find Steve Regal to be a very interesting character. He does have, again, another awesome figure. Love the accessory. In fact, I think this might be one of the better ones. Maybe one of the top 3, top 5 accessories. Nice and thick, vest or whatnot. So really awesome figure overall. That is the Steve Regal. And just kind of give you one more once over. One more look over with the 3-pack. And when you compare these guys to like the 2-packs, this what kind of sucks is because I really want to keep the 3-packs sitting next to my 2-packs, but the 3-packs are just so high up that the way that I have my shelves built, I don't want to rearrange them. So I had to move the 3-pack on the other side of the room. I can't keep them right here with the rest of the Remcos. And 3-pack pretty much shows you the exact same information that you would find in a 2-pack carded figures. So no real change there either. But I really like that. And to be honest, kind of looking at this picture, because I give you a live action picture right here, I wouldn't even notice that's the same guy kind of looking at that picture. It just looks completely different than what I'm envisioning in my mind. Unless they're not the same person, unless there was 2 different Steven Regals, but I don't think so. I think that's the same person. It's got to be the same person. I didn't exactly look it up or anything. I didn't think about it, but I just always kind of, saw the name Steve Regal. I'm like, well, that's who it is. Anyways, next up is just the re-release, but this time it's on a 3-pack of the Road Warriors. So, once again, and I really like the face paint on the live action picture photo. So that looks pretty awesome. And on screen, this stuff looks really dark. So hopefully you guys are able to make this stuff out. I mean, I'm like right underneath the light over here. So I was hoping there was like sufficient light in this area, but... So Paul Ellering, he was actually not just a manager, but he was actually one of, AWA's like big name wrestlers as well. In video 1, I talked about all these different superstars that have, passed through AWA. And I didn't mention Paul Ellering because I knew he was going to be coming up in this video when I did this review. But, man, I just don't know anything about the character. I know the name. I know he was part of AWA and everything. Even with loose figures, I try to keep duplicates up there, like I did with Rick Martel and Baron Von Raschke. Well, right now I only have a second Hawk figure up there, so I decided to just grab the Series 1 loose figures that I pulled in the first video and just kind of show those figures off again. Again, there's absolutely no change between the first set and the second set, Series 1 or Series 3, so with the Paul Ellering figure, of course, as you can see, I don't have the shirt accessory, so we're just looking at the overall body type of the action figure, just like any other of the Remcos. And here's another one that kind of has a really weak legs and whatnot. At least this one's solid to the point where it doesn't, the waist doesn't spin. Oh, yeah, it does. Well, it doesn't do a 360, but it does do a 180. Still, you can feel the legs, and they're like very weak. He's a loose figure. It's for display. I mean, I could, the carded figures are my mint figures. So for the loose ones, they don't really have to be mint. It'd be nice to have them as mint as possible, but you make do with what you have available. And I've talked about like these little laminate belts. I've got like a million of them. I bought a ton, even though I got my first batch in long ago, and I despised them. I still went out and bought more because, you know, I really, if you see like the Jakks or the Mattel championship belts, I mean, you could buy like one single belt, pay like $15-$20 for it. It's like, dude, I might as well go out and buy the whole box set and pay that same exact money if I want to get the belt out of it. But so I buy a lot of these championship belts, and this one's like a six-man tag championship belt. So I figured, you know what, this would be good figures to put them on. But I'm not a fan of these belts. I absolutely despise these belts. They serve its purpose here and there, but not for longevity. All right, because this is only a three package, and I really don't have a lot to say about these figures, unfortunately. This could be a very short video. And the last one we're looking at are the fabulous Freebirds. I kind of mentioned it when I did my review of the Freebirds, of the Freebirds in my Galoob review video, and what they kind of classify as like the Freebirds rule. And for those that didn't see that Galoob video, I'll kind of recap. Essentially, what the Freebirds rule means is if, let's say, Buddy Roberts and Michael Hayes tag team and they win the championship belts. Well, let's say Buddy Roberts is not available to square off against an opponent to defend those tag team belts, then Michael Hayes can tag team with Terry Gordy and defend those tag team belts. And if they lose, they drop the belts altogether. You know, and it could be any combination. So that's the Freebird rule, and I thought that was really awesome. I mean, I love these three-man tag teams. You know, Demolition obviously is probably going to be my favorite three-man tag team, of course. But when you start thinking about like other teams, other factions and stuff, I mentioned Money Incorporated, I mentioned NWO as examples, stuff like that. It'd be so awesome, you know. See like Razor Ramon and 1-2-3 Kid, who at that time were probably like 6 and just simply Scott Hall at the time, but you know, defending the titles when they were won by Kevin Nash and Hulk Hogan as an example. So that's the Freebird rule, and pretty awesome. Freebirds, the tag team themselves were around for about 15 years. Around 1979 when they got together. They disbanded around 1994. They come together every now and then for like little ceremonies, Hall of Fame inductions and whatnot. Wrestling Induction Hall of Fame, and later on the WWE Induction Hall of Fame. So, 3 awesome figures. Buddy Roberts is obviously my favorite among the group. Not only does the figure look amazing, but a great accessory. And like Ric Flair, it's got like the little initials here, but instead of saying BR for Buddy Roberts, it says FB for Freebirds. So I don't know if you guys could see it in there, or if it's too dark. Great accessory, great looking figure, just an awesome piece overall. And let me kind of tie this up a little bit. So I don't have a Michael Hayes loose figure. So I don't have a Precious loose figure. I don't have a Michael Hayes loose figure. And of course with the Legion of Doom, I didn't have a second loose animal. So I'm going to try and show you Michael Hayes. Michael Hayes, he's always seems to be like one of those guys that are always there among the Freebirds. So later on, days of WCW, you had Jimmy Garvin. Jimmy Garvin right here, tag team with Michael Hayes to form the Freebirds. So they weren't always the same characters. They weren't always 3-man tag teams. I think there was like at least another wrestler or two that may have joined the tag team at some point over the years. So not always the same wrestlers, but the Freebird name lived on nonetheless. And then Terry Gordy, Terry Bam Bam Gordy. I've seen this guy. This guy is huge. Not like Yokozuna huge or anything like that. I mean, probably Dusty Rhodes. Maybe not even Dusty Rhodes, but he was a big fella nonetheless. And when you look at this Terry Gordy figure, he's got the most ripped abs, just like so many of the other action figures with the He-Man body. So that kind of like makes no sense with this body type. Now, this is a Freebird figure as well of Terry Gordy. But as you can see, this loose figure, he's, you know, got like the Abdullah the Butcher, Jimmy Garvin type body type. You know, not that chiseled abs or anything, but the more, I don't want to call it flabby belly or whatnot. So you are going to come across a few Remco figures here and there with certain variants. So any interested buyers out there looking to complete a collection, that's something that you might want to be, you know, wary of. Once you get a Terry Gordy or a Jimmy Garvin and whatnot, you're not necessarily complete if you're just going for the loose figures, because they do have variants. And Bam Bam, to me, there's only one Bam Bam, and that's Bigelow. But you know what? I assume he came first, so Terry Bam Bam Gordy. Good figure. Again, I hate this right here. All right, so that concludes the first three-man tag team, really the only three-man tag team set for the Remco's 1985 release for Series 3. So Series 1 in 84, and then Series 2 and Series 3 were both released in 85. And the next video we're going to look at Series 4, which was the grudge match. I have 3 out of 4 packages, and I do have all 8 figures loose, so we'll still be able to take a look at everything there. So if I do that video today, I don't know. If I might wait till later on today or do it at a later time. I'm not sure. I really would like to complete all 5 videos. Once I get to Series 5, the Matt Mania video, I really only have about 4 figures from Matt Mania or for the Series 5, so don't really have a lot to talk about there. Some of them are re-releases, like, you know, Ric Flair, for example. And if you try to find a Ric Flair loose, or a Ric Flair Matt Mania on card, you probably got to pay over $1,000, $2,000, you know, ridiculous listed prices out there. Yeah, I got one Matt Mania on card. I paid a significant price for it, but come on. Would I pay in the $1,000 range for Remco figures? No. I think last year when I was buying up all these Remcos, I think I got like 3 or 4, maybe 5 sets of Remcos and a El Gigante Galoob on card, and I probably paid around $900. So it depends on what the quantity is. You know, it's got to be the right amount, and the value's got to be there. But enough of that, guys. I'm gonna shut up because I don't want this video to go too long. I've made my decision. I'm gonna stop here. I'm gonna come back down later on in the day and make Series 4 and 5. Again, I don't think they're gonna take too long. So I may or may not post these videos every other day. I might post them on back-to-back days, try and get this through so I can start on the Hasbros. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you in the comments and see you in the next video. Goodbye, everybody.